call this meeting to order, the Rensselaer Advisory Plan Commission. Today is Thursday, April 16th, and it's 5:31. Have a roll call, please.
President Scott Barton.
Here.
Vice President Cliff Wood. Here. Kevin Harmon.
Here.
Jeff Raber.
Here.
Bryce Black. Here. Dina Rule.
Here.
Craig Hewitt.
Here.
Mike Davis. Absent. Sean Cobby.
Here.
Mayor Phillips.
Here.
City Attorney Todd Sammons. Absent. Building Commissioner Jacob Hall. Here. And Planning Commission Secretary Maria Arquette.
Here.
All right, members, everyone has been sent the minutes for the last meeting. What say you about the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. All right, new business. Jacob, number one.
Sure. The first petition here tonight is APC 02-2026, change of zoning application for 117 East Vine Street from Ms. Ninfa Hernandez. If you'd like, would you like me to answer questions about it? Okay. So I've included a map along with this petition. It's on page, it's on like page 7 or 8 here, which shows the current zoning. Right now, the parcels are zoned. It's 2 parcels that are in question here. They're both zoned I-1. They're on Vine Street, just south of the grain elevator, next to the lumber yard that's there. And I believe your plan is to use it for a taco shop? Is that right?
We want to do any business. Yeah.
Any kind of business? I think that's what you had suggested to me. So obviously, can't have a food service establishment in an industrial district, and so they have asked to rezone it to B1, neighborhood business. There is R3 just to the south on the southern half of that block, and then B1 across Elm Street to the south. So it's not directly adjacent to other B1, but it's nearby. It's less than a block away. The taqueria is right there. So
that whole block is industrial?
yeah, the whole northern half of that block north of the alleyway where the storage units are, and then all of those little lots with the little houses. I believe this place was it like a cookie shop or something like that before? Yeah, something like that. Yeah. It's just a very tiny little building.
And a barber shop.
Here. Use long for that.
Right. So these lots are not buildable for I-1 anyways. The district setbacks are much greater than what would allow you. Well, I mean, there's a tiny little buildable area there, but for the types of uses that are permitted in I-1, it's not really practical. Either in order to see this developed, either these parcels would need to be combined into, probably most of them in this block combined and then sold to somebody who is interested in developing it for some industrial use, or they would need to be rezoned. And probably these two, I believe your intention is to probably combine them if you intend to add on to the structure, right, to expand it. So that's going to be how they use the space that they have here. Admittedly, it's very limited. I can't recall off the top of my head how wide these 2 lots are, but if you put them both together, they do fit the minimal district standards for B1. So,
Are there minimum parking standards?
I could not answer that off the top of my head. I'm not sure exactly what it would be for that, but there are certainly solutions that can be found for it that involves turning some of that front part of it into parking.
Is this going to be a retail shop, or is it just a production? You're just going to produce product there, or are you going to sell it out of that building?
están mencionando que si esta locación la va a hacer para producir el producto o para vender.
Cada vender.
Or retail, selling.
Okay.
So you're saying these two parcels separately don't have the proper dimensions to meet the requirements for B1, but together they would?
Yes, together they would, but that would only really be relevant if they intended to modify the structure.
Okay.
So if they want to do any addition to the building, they have to combine the two.
Yes, and I've explained that to them.
Shouldn't that then be done first before rezoning?
It could be done first. I wasn't sure which the proper order of operation should be here. And Ms. Hernandez decided that she wanted to go with a rezoning petition first.
But in this current situation, they're not asking for any building permits, they just
No.
want the reason.
Not at this time,
Because
no.
they could possibly still sell currently, and then in the future, they would have to
Correct.
abide by the. Yes.
Correct. It could be used, it could be rezoned and then used for use that's permitted in that district.
Any other questions?
The nearest business district you said was where?
So if you look at the map, the colors of the different zone colors are not really great here. Yeah. So it's so the street to the south of there. So if you look at the two parcels that are highlighted in pink, that's what we're talking about. The zone, the blue area to the south is R3, and then on the other side of that street that's to the south, which is Elm Street, is B1. There's also additional B1 on the west side of Cullen Street that you can see on this map. So there's B1 in a block to the west and to the south, but not directly adjacent to the parcel.
Okay.
I know we did something similar to this over near Melville and Maple Street. Would it make sense to, or is it even doable to make all of that B1 since you've got all those storage units and everything there?
That could be possible. I was actually looking at the district use chart just the other day, and storage units are only permitted in industrial zones. So, probably not those parcels, but potentially those other ones.
Is this the one we are right here?
Yes.
Yeah, to the north.
This is green.
So right now, all of these parcels here are essentially legal non-conforming residential uses at this time, which means that obviously they could continue at a change in ownership, but if they become vacant for a certain amount of time, they will no longer be usable for their current use. So, I mean, that is certainly something that we could look at, would be rezoning the adjacent parcels as well. But obviously, I would advise against doing that for the storage units, because that would make them non-conforming.
What structures currently exist on these two lots?
So there is just, it's difficult to see from this view. On the western one, there's really just a gravel driveway. On the eastern parcel, there's just a very small building. It's smaller even than the minimum standard that you would need to have a house in the R3 district. So it's not really usable for any other purpose. It's not usable for residential purposes either.
We had that sip and tea or whatever that thing took over the Phillips building was in that area.
It's in
It's
that
in that
building.
building.
It was that building.
That's where it
Yeah, it was this, that's the building that we're talking about,
Blue
yes.
houses.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just a tiny little place.
And again, this is retail food service, that's the plan? Or do we know what kind, or does it matter what kind of business?
It's a restaurant, basically.
Están preguntando qué es lo que realmente va a ser el negocio y les está preguntando de vender o producción, que nada más es como lo que usted me había dicho de hacer tacos y que recojan y se van, no nada un restaurante de sentarse, ¿correcto?
No, sí, solo, y también en un futuro, pues, tal vez queremos como poner como algún barber shop o algo con bebidas o algún negocio, pero pues la zona no lo permite. Entonces lo compramos pues para invertir y tal vez pues componerlo y tal vez rentarlo, pero la zona no.
She says when she bought the land and she was looking to, didn't realize that she was limited to doing what she wanted. And Todd was making like a taco express, not a sit-down restaurant, just go and pick up, order and go, carry out, just like a carry-out, or if a barber shop. And that was the idea when she purchased the land, is to do something in that and invest in when she bought this property.
You already had a business at once.
Several.
Same
But as long as,
thing she's wanting to do.
if it's converted, we do agree to go to B1 on these lots, it still has to conform to what B1 standards are.
It would have been a non-conforming use prior to this, unless there was a variance granted or something like that.
Yeah.
Because it's not zoned for, there aren't any food service establishments permitted.
There's going to be additional steps to get to it.
If they, yes, they still, B1, they still have to, whatever business they put in there still has to conform to B1 zone.
Yeah. And I've advised them on the acceptable uses in that district. And obviously I'll be making sure that whatever the use that does end up going here eventually will conform with those standards. Or if it's necessary to get a conditional use or something like that, I can advise them of that.
I don't see a problem with it.
No, because we don't need to stifle business growth in the community.
Are there any other questions about the petition?
You have to read the steps. Read through the list.
That's BZA.
Yeah, it's BZA.
Yes, BZA.
I need to remember to bring my copy of the zoning ordinance to the BZA meeting.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
So we're looking for a motion to approve.
Yes. What does the board say?
I make that motion.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations.
Good luck.
Thank
Lo
you.
aprobado, ha sido aprobado.
Who was the show?
I put a motion for a workshop.
All right.
Que ponga una batería.
Item number 2 is simple subdivision. 2 of them, 2 and 3. We'll start with number 2.
This first one is the one with the farmhouse. Bruce, would you like to take the lead here, or?
Go ahead. I can answer any questions.
Okay. So Mr. Saylor is applying to split the farm that he owns on Marion School Road. It's on the east side. There is a plat map that's included at the rear of this petition. Basically, the idea is to split off all of the parts of the farm here that have like farming equipment or buildings or machinery on it from the actual field that it's attached to. Now, Bruce, could you explain exactly what the reasoning for that is? It's related to a trust, right?
Right. My dad's trust, my dad passed away a few years ago. The farm was in a trust. A few of my siblings and I are owning the farm ground, and it made no sense. My siblings had no desire to own any buildings or equipment or grain dryer, etc. So my wife and I are buying what I call the barn lot. And my siblings and I, the rest of us are going to own the farm land, but my wife and I are owning the barn lot. That's part of and then I got a grain dryer operation that joins it next to it on another farm that my wife and I own. So basically, we're just splitting off the barn lot. My wife and I are going to own it because my siblings don't want to own property with depreciation and upkeep and won't spend any money. Bottom line of that. So this farm's been there 62 years. Nothing's changed other than the barn lot's going to be owned by my wife and I.
Do you meet all the requirements, Jacob?
I'm sorry?
Do you meet all the requirements?
Yes, this will be going before the BZA in an hour because it does not meet the required lot frontage. It's in an A1 district, and there's just because of the circumstances here where the river actually runs through this area, it's not possible to get more than 92 feet, give or take, of frontage. You need like 300 or something like that. So whatever approval that you guys made would be conditional on the BZA also approving the variance.
I don't have any issues.
Any questions?
Now, this one's pretty straightforward, in my opinion.
All right. So what, got a motion?
Second that.
A second. So motion and second to approve with the conditions of BZA approval. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Item number 3 is also a simple subdivision.
Yes, this is also in the same area. It's on the opposite side of the river, on the opposite side of the road and the opposite side of the river. There is another plat map that's included at the very back here, as well as a satellite photo showing, highlighting which parcel is in question here. So the plan is to split this lot in half, basically, along the river. Mr. Laird, who owns all of the land on the west side of the river, is buying basically all of this side of the parcel that's on the west side of the river. This one's also fairly straightforward. He's been in my office with questions about what kinds of development would be possible in this area, but I don't believe he has any concrete plans for what he wants to do right now. Currently, is it you, or does he farm that land himself, or is it?
No, it's a 64-acre parcel of land that we farm. The 33 acres that I'm selling to Landscape, I presently farm, but it's very inconvenient. I got to go around the river and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, the
Why it's part of the ground I ever owned, who knows why it was ever done that way, but it is. So basically, everything on the west side of the river that I own is Landscape's buying, and he owns all the land on that side of the river now.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for him, though.
So presently, the only access you have to this ground is through his parcel.
Right,
correct?
along the riverbank.
Yeah. So this sale will basically rectify that situation. I imagine it will be much more convenient for everybody, right? So this one's also pretty straightforward. It's just a simple split, and it's basically going to make this easier in the future to develop this land.
Motion to approve.
Motion and a second to approve. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Fantastic.
BZA.
Yes.
And this is the area that blue screen did come out of. Yeah, it was in this area. I remember seeing it when I was a kid.
Yeah, that was across, it actually goes across the land that we're referring to.
Yeah. Where the blue screen comes from.
Is that low spot that's on the north side of this parcel? Kind of marshy to the region there?
Yes. Okay. Actually, the foundation for the old bridge is still there. Somebody ever walked the river.
Interesting.
All right. Any other business to be brought before this board tonight? All right. I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Guys, let me know what you guys do with the battery in our clock.
Now,
Maybe Ernest.